have accumulated $4 trillion worth of debt due to the wars that we're fighting. Think how far that money could have gone in society here. How much better off we would be. We wouldn't be so much in debt. Today we are a poorer nation. We have the greatest debt in the history of the world, and both foreign and domestic. And it is the foreign policy that brings people down so often. It isn't the wars that finally eliminate a whole empire. The Soviets went down not because we had to have that war, but because they finally went bankrupt and they had to go home. And this is today our greatest threat. The one thing I can assure you of, with my experience in the service and my experience in Washington and knowing a little bit about our military power, we do not have to worry about anybody touching us militarily. We have the strongest military defense. That much confidence about we have nothing to worry about, because when we take an oath in the office, we take an oath to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, I'm more worried right now about the domestic problems we have.
Yeah!
Undermined in these past 10 years. And there has been fear, and some of it you can understand it, but it doesn't justify it. And we have accepted this notion in this last decade that it's okay to sacrifice some of our liberties to be safe.
No!
That is correct. It is never necessary to sacrifice liberty for the safety. And the founder said, if you do, you're not going to be safe, and you will lose everything. You will not, and you'll lose your liberties as well. And that is what happened. So immediately after 9/11, within a week or two, we passed this thing called the Patriot Act. Now I know personally some members of Congress had voted for the Patriot Act because they said it sounded good. I argued with one member on the day he was voting for it, and I said, why are you voting for this? You haven't even had time to read it. It just came up an hour ago. He said, well, I know. I said, you know, there's some bad stuff in this bill. He says, I know. And I said, why are you going to vote for it? He said, well, I just can't go home and explain to my constituents under these conditions why I voted against the Patriot Act. I said, well, that's your job.